More changes at the Pentagon.
And could Canada be changing its mind about the F-35?
This week on The Breakout. I'm Aaron Mehta.
And I'm Lee Farron.
Lee, we are gathered here to once again talk about another change at the Pentagon.
You're kidding me, not another one.
I know, it's shocking. So late last week, we obtained a memo, and then the Pentagon confirmed it shortly thereafter, that the Office of Net Assessment was being, I believe the term they used was, well, not disbanded officially, but basically disestablished.
Is that the one? That's the one. Yeah. And this Office of Net Assessment is, of course, the famous one that, what does it do again?
It has a terrible name.
Yes.
No, so Office of Net Assessment, it's a very inside defense office, but it's considered really important by people in the defense community. This goes back to 1973. A guy named Andrew Marshall was tapped to lead the office. And the goal is to make sure there's somebody thinking about not the next year, 5 years, even 10 years of defense, but decades out. What's the technologies and capabilities that the department needs to have for future fights?
Planning for warfighting.
Long-term strategic technological point. It's been credited with a lot of the technological innovations that have driven conflict to where they are now. It was led by Andrew Marshall, as said, who's known as the Pentagon's Yoda. He's kind of this mysterious, legendary figure. There were a couple of books written about him after the fact. He retired in 2015. The office continued on, maybe had a little less juice than it did under Marshall, but was still seen as kind of an important place for kind of clear analytical thinking about the future. What that means going forward is a little unclear.
Yeah.
So in the memo, they canceled all the contracts. They said, we're not firing anybody, but civilians will figure out jobs for you, and military officials are being reassigned, and we'll do some sort of reconstitution of it.
Well, it's kind of in line with the Secretary Hegseth has been laser focused on warfighting in what seems like a fairly narrow sense. And it's unclear where long-term strategic thinking will come into what seems to be the more immediate needs of this new Defense Department.
Yeah, and there's also a political angle because there always is. Senator Chuck Grassley had been campaigning against net assessment for a while, claiming it was tied into the investigation to President Trump's ties to Russia from, at this point 8 years ago. There's a lot of angles here. And look, I'm going to say the thing that I feel like we say every week, which is we're going to stay on this and see what more comes out of it. But that's kind of just the state of the Pentagon right now.
And it seems to be every week something new happens, and we just kind of wait and see how it shuffles out in the end. Yeah. And when we come back, what are we doing?
When we come back, we're going to talk about something. Well, I'm going to talk about something else. We're going to bring Michael Marrow on, our Air Force reporter, to talk about the situation with Canada and the F-35 after the break.
At Leonardo DRS, our agility helps bring the ability to dominate in any scenario, on any platform, helping our warfighters accomplish the mission and get home safely. Leonardo DRS, our agility, your advantage.
All right, so I'm joined now by Michael Marrow. He's our air warfare correspondent. We're going to talk about Canada, obviously. There's a new prime minister in Canada. He is starting to make some moves in reaction to the trade war that we've seen from the White House. Obviously, a major political angle there. One of the things that he seems to be doing is reaching into defense. And, well, I'll let you explain what's going on.
Mark Carney, who's Canada's new prime minister, has asked his Ministry of Defense to reevaluate the planned purchase of the F-35. So we heard from Canada's Ministry of National Defense today. They told us that they are going to do their homework for that procurement. What that means is that although Canada signed a deal for 88 aircraft in 2023, the first 16 of those they have legally committed to buy, but anything beyond that is now kind of an open question.
So the Saab Gripen was the backup choice, the F-35 in 2023. Let's say that they just keep 16 F-35s and cancel the rest. Realistically, do you think they're going to have a mixed fleet?
I think that is a political question. I think that what may be the best option militarily, strategically, may not make the most sense politically now anymore. It's harder for countries to operate mixed fleets of aircraft, but whether it's the Saab or something else, I certainly wouldn't rule that out as a possibility.
This came on the heels of some comments from Portugal's outgoing defense minister in the previous week. Now, Portugal has not bought the F-35. It's unclear when or if they actually would, but this defense minister had been very supportive of the idea of the F-35 coming to Portugal. And now he seemed to cool on that, saying more, we got to make sure we're taking into the political realities of the moment. That set up some yellow flags, and then Canada's statement today set up some red flags about, is the F-35, which is an international program by design, going to kind of become a political football that everyone's passing around?
I certainly think what you've seen with Canada will not be the end. There's a strong possibility that it's not. But the only thing I would say it's worth noting is that, as you said, this is an international program by design.
Yeah.
The U.S. and 19 other countries have either already flying it or committing to buying it. So any kind of disruption in this program, it has a very intricate international supply chain that if any one customer decides to go about it differently, could affect everyone.
Yeah, we saw what happened when Turkey got kicked out of the program a couple years ago.
Exactly.
Chaos trying to figure out who's going to produce some of the parts. Obviously, we'll be keeping on that story going forward, as well as all the other defense stories at breakingdefense.com. And if you want to get the weekly breakout delivered to you every week, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Aaron Mehta. Thanks for watching.